Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I am back with another episode of Road to Ranked, our very second one of the season. If you have not seen the first one, definitely check it out, and it is really great to be back with this series. And thank you so much for all the love on yesterday's episode. I'm really glad that people are enjoying the battles, and I can't wait to do this more, basically on a daily basis. So yeah, to all the new subscribers on the channel as well, since we've had a fair amount of those, welcome to the channel, and thank you for subscribing. And just, yeah, thanks to everyone for all the love you shown me in the last two videos. I'm really glad to get VGC 2017 content out there finally, and there's a pretty clear, high demand for it, so it's exciting to me how many people are really interested in VGC 2017, and I want to do my best to basically help anyone get into it. So yeah, if you haven't checked out the team builder video, then also definitely check that out, as we're going to find our first opponent of the day. It's going to be a Japanese opponent with a rating of 1606, and as always, if you enjoyed Road to Rank, please share support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. Of course, I am running the Trick Room team that, as I mentioned, we featured in the team builder, and my opponent here is running a pretty interesting team. Relatively fast Pokemon. Like, most of the Pokemon on my opponent's team is really speedy for the metagame, bar the Gastrodon. So we've got Aerodactyl, Garchomp, Arcanine, Tapu, Koko, and then the other two are Gastrodon, of course, and the Alolan Ninetales. So because there's an Alolan Ninetales, I'm less inclined to just go with something like Torkoal Lilligant lead, because obviously the Hail can just instantly switch in. So let's see what I want to lead with here. Tapu Koko is also kind of a big concern, especially for my Dragon types, mainly Salamence. So I think the way to approach this match, honestly, is just to set up Trick Room and kind of sweep with Torkoal. And since I do have the Mentor, that's a big deal as well. So I'm going to lead with the Oranguru. And I'm kind of tempted to go with Salamence just to get an Intimidate off. And, I'll sack the Salamence so I can get a free switch in. So I think I'm going to go Salamence with Torkoal and Tapu Bulu in the back. Tapu Bulu is really good against my opponent's team composition too. So the strategy of this match really will be to set up Trick Room and hopefully maybe pick up a knockout with Salamence before Trick Room goes up, and also sweep through with Tapu Bulu and Torkoal in the late game. So we'll see if we can execute that strategy. It's a little bit difficult, and playing speedy teams such as my opponent's is scary. And Gastrodon's obviously a pretty big threat because it is one of the slower Pokemon in the metagame. So, it's kind of a mark of a good team, right? Like, it has speed from both the top and the low end. So we're going to see the Tapu Koko and the Arcanine come out from my opponent. And so this is obviously a little bit scary because Salamence does not like going up against Tapu Koko, but other than that, I'm thinking there are a bunch of options turn one here. I could switch out into my Torkoal and just go for a Trick Room, expecting a Moonblast or something of the sort. Or, quite honestly, I could just sacrifice a Salamence, which was kind of what I was intending to do in the first place. Because what that does allow me to do is it allows me to get Torkoal in for free, and then I have full 4 turns of Trick Room to take advantage of. But undoubtedly, I think my opponent's going to have the Gastrodon in the back. So here, I think I'm definitely going for the Trick Room. There's not much my opponent can really do to stop it. Now the question is, maybe my opponent predicts a Protect. So I think I'm just going to go for the Draco onto the Arcanine. So the idea is here, okay, if Tapu Koko targets down Mence, then I get the free switch in. It's actually going to be a Z move coming out here. So Tapu Koko probably going for a Z move. I would guess the electric one. Let's see which one this is. Actually, I don't know the dance. So that's actually a good way you can indicate which Z move your opponent's using. It could be the fairy one. Ooh, Guardian of Alola. So that's the one where it does a guaranteed 75% damage. And so this is both good and bad, because what that means is, he's obviously targeting down the Oranguru with this. So the question is, can Arcanine knock out my Oranguru? It's at -1. I also could just outspeed right now with Salamence and pick up the knockout with the Specs Draco Meteor. So yeah, quick 75% of damage there. Salamence does outspeed though and does get the Draco Meteor off, which is why, I was okay going with it, because worst case, Tapu targets me and then I get a free switch in. And Draco actually doesn't pick up the knockout. It comes really close, but it doesn't pick up the knockout. We do see Flare Blitz. It's going to be at -1, but I've already taken a lot of damage. Will this be able to knock me out? Let's see. It does knock me out, and that's really, really bad. And I actually didn't anticipate the Z move coming out from the Tapu Koko at all. And that's something I maybe should have given more thought to. If I had a Citrus Berry there, then I probably would have survived too, but not the case. If I knocked out Arcanine, I think I would have been in a really good position, but instead now I'm in a pretty awkward position. So I think I'm going to switch in Torkoal here because my opponent can't do too much offensively to me, and I will probably switch my Salamence out into my Tapu Bulu. But this is really bad because my strategy was to kind of set up Trick Room, and I didn't think my opponent really had a way to stop it, but, this is me learning with the process. Like, he could potentially have the Z move there. And as a result, I don't think there was very much I could have done there. Like, if I had a Fake Out user, that would have been nice, and that's one thing that this team could have maybe utilized. But other than that, like, I'm not sure what I could have really done better. Maybe lead better, for example, Lilligant Torkoal, because Torkoal's going to be slower than Alolan Ninetales. But here, it is pretty problematic. I'm going to go for the Heat Wave in case he targets down my Torkoal. Actually, So here's the thing. Like, you either Thunderbolt Torkoal or you Moonblast Salamence. I'll still Heat Wave. I'll play it safe here. And I'm going to switch out into Tapu Bulu. Although he could predict this and just go for a Flare Blitz into that slot, which would be very bad. But I'm playing from behind, and that's the kind of troublesome thing of using a Choice Scarf or Choice Specs user, or Band user. Like, you're locked into attacks, and I don't know if my opponent knows I'm banded, but yeah, the Arcanine taking a max special attack Draco Meteor, clearly very bulky. So Grass Terrain is going to come out. He actually goes for the Extreme Speed, interesting, onto Torkoal. Not what I was anticipating. It's going to be Nature's Madness coming out, but because Grass Terrain is out, I don't think that'll do as much. Actually, I don't know how that works. Yeah, evidently not. Oh no, sorry, Nature's Madness is just the one where it's a guaranteed 50%, I believe. Yeah, so I pick up the knockout there onto Arcanine. Actually get a burn onto Tapu Koko. That could be a very big deal. Because what that means is now instead of having to target it, I could just stall with Protect. Oh, actually, never mind. Because of the way Grassy Terrain works, he's just going to be able to heal back everything from Burn, because Burn did get nerfed. So before, Burn would do 1/8 of your HP, but now it does 1/16. So basically, he heals back everything. So, interesting play there. My opponent, you know, expecting either a Protect or a Switch out there and deciding not to target the Salamence spot. But a good play, I would think, for sure. Aerodactyl's coming back out, which is obviously a little bit concerning here. And Nature's Madness on Tapu Koko is just really threatening right now. We're probably going to just see a Rock Slide come out. So I could switch out into Salamence. Torkoal can probably take a Rock Slide, though. So I also could just Heat Wave. But the thing is, I have to kind of knock out Tapu Koko, because if I don't knock it out, then my opponent could just really Moonblast that slot, since I don't have any potential to protect. So if I switch out, I could just go for an attack onto Tapu Koko. The thing is, I want to conserve the Intimidate too, because I don't know what my opponent's last Pokemon is, but I think I might have to switch out here. And go for a Horn Leech onto Tapu Koko. So the idea is by getting the Intimidate off into Aerodactyl, it really won't be able to do very much against my Tapu Bulu. And hopefully he doesn't have a way to knock out my Tapu Bulu right now. But this is a pretty risky switch in, and this could go very poorly. But I'm already behind at this point. So let's see what he goes for. It's actually a Protect on Aerodactyl. That's really reassuring to see, because I didn't target that slot, and I thought my opponent had a relatively free slot. It's going to just be a Nature's Madness coming out. Okay. Targeting Tapu Bulu, but I'm going to be able to heal back almost everything from Leftovers and Horn Leech and Grassy Terrain, so that ends up being a lot better than I anticipated. So I'm really happy about that, and the Grass boost for Grassy Terrain is also just a huge deal, healing so much. So I basically get a free Intimidate off there, and that's a big, big deal in this kind of matchup. So we'll see what my opponent's last Pokemon is now. As, yeah, I'm healing a fair amount. Look at all that recovery. That's why I have lefties on this, just because, you know, combining everything, like, it just can heal back. Like, we literally healed back, like, around 25% of what we lost, and now we're at 75%. It's gonna be Ninetales for the last Pokemon, though, which is pretty bad. Of course, I can switch into Torkoal. Yeah. I was kind of hoping it would be Gastrodon, but this is why if I set up Trick Room, this game would have went really well. But, kind of difficult given the lead matchup. And my opponent just, you know, totally caught me off guard with the Z move there from Tapu Koko. So Ninetales presumably has something like Ice Beam anyway. Here you probably just Rock Slide. The question is, do you go for a Blizzard? Because I could just switch into Torkoal. And... What is Sashed here? Is it Aerodactyl or Ninetales? I could Woodhammer. Woodhammer's probably a knockout, honestly, on Ninetales. I think he's gonna Rock Slide and Ice Beam into Tapu Bulu, though. Oh wow, I'm running out of time. Oh no. Oh no! I ran out of time! I was gonna Protect there with Tapu Bulu. I'm still getting used to the new timer system here. I mean, I think it's the same amount of time from before. I wanted to Protect there so I could get the sun up. But let's see what my opponent does. If he goes for a Blizzard and misses the Tapu Bulu, that would be huge. It's gonna just be a Rock Slide coming out, yep. Ooh, knocks out Torkoal. Is that a crit? Yeah. That's... double crit, really? That's... yeah, that's really bad. He goes for a Blizzard, but it hits! Oh, he literally relied on Blizzard. Okay, so that's why I wanted to Protect, because I didn't know if I had an Ice-type attack, but that's kind of my bad for running out of time. But that crit also made things really difficult, because I think if he doesn't crit there, then he doesn't pick up that knockout. It's not necessarily over, though, if he has to rely on Blizzard hitting. Like, Salamence could still pull through, but it's going to be slower than both my opponent's Pokemon. But yeah, if I protected there, then the idea is I get the free switching back into Salamence, which intimidates, but I think it still comes down to whether my opponent has an Ice-type attack or not. Also, if he misses there, then I actually just win the game. So my opponent, I don't know whether he has another Ice-type attack or not, but I suppose I have to go for Fire Blast here for damage output. Aerodactyl's attack is obviously pretty low right now. Definitely unfortunate double crit, but I think my opponent definitely played better than me, and that does so much damage still. Single target, yeah. And he did have Freeze Dry, so yeah, really surprising move for my opponent to not to go for the Blizzard instead of going for the Freeze Dry originally. But that's going to pick up the knockout, and that's going to be a good game against my opponent. Really well played, and I think I lost this one because, you know, I relied very heavily on trying to get up Trick Room in this game, and that ended up not being the case. Honestly, Lilligant Torkoal would have been a decent lead there, given that my opponent didn't bring the Gastron, and I'm guessing the Gastron didn't come in because, of course, I do have Lilligant, and even though I don't have a Grass type attack on Lilligant, my opponent doesn't know that. So, a pretty clean win for my opponent. I mean, there was some RNG, but I think I honestly just got outplayed there. And in terms of what I could have done better, I think, like, given the lead matchup, I don't know whether that's a damage roll on Arcanine either, because I am literally max special attack. Like, that's one of the strongest attacks you could use against an Arcanine, so I don't know if my opponent's, like, full special defense or just really bulky, but if that was a damage roll, like, if I pick up that knockout and I get up Trick Room, I think I just kind of win the game because my opponent doesn't have enough for 4 turns of Trick Room. But we're gonna find another opponent's gonna be Iane with a team of Gyarados, Alolan Marowak, Porygon, Garchomp, Tapu Koko, and Tapu Lele, so it's kind of a team comp that we've seen a fair amount running around, and I honestly like the Torkoal Lilligant lead here, because I can hit him Power Ice the Garchomp, and I exert a lot of pressure immediately. In the back, I think I'm going to go Oranguru and Drumpa. The reason why I don't want to go with my Fairy types is because he does have... I suppose if I do go with these, though, then Alolan Marowak's kind of troublesome, so maybe I want to go Drumpa instead. He also has many ways, like, you could just lead Gyarados Marowak, and that would give my lead a fair amount of trouble right from the start, so maybe I don't want to go with the lead of that. Yeah, maybe I'll just go Oranguru. Oranguru, which can set up Trick Room immediately. I could go Oranguru Salamence again, but he's got 2 Tapus. I don't know, I'm tempted to go Lilligant Torkoal, because it punishes him heavily if he leads any Tapus. Maybe I'll go Salamence instead. Do I want to even go with the Trick Room option this match? That's the question. I might not, honestly. Yeah, so I'm actually opting not to go with Trick Room this time around, and I'm going to go with more offensive, and that's kind of the team mode I kind of created, right? There were like 2 team modes when I built this team where I was like, okay, I can either go with Lilligant Torkoal as a lead and kind of sweep through and maybe have the Trick Room option, but I'm not so sure about the Trick Room option here, mainly because that would mean that Oranguru would be an offensive Pokemon, and that would be, it would mean that I would give up an offensive Pokemon to use Oranguru, and that's kind of troublesome because Oranguru doesn't do too much damage, although I suppose I could take advantage of Psychic Terrain if that is the case for my opponent, but we'll see what he leads with here. I would assume it's kind of anti-Torkoal Lilligant, but, you know, I did have the Trick Room option as well. And I'm a little bit sick right now, so just trying to stay hydrated. But let's see what comes out from my opponent. It's going to be Porygon 2 and Garchomp. Okay. Not the end of the world here, especially if my opponent isn't anticipating a Hidden Power Ice coming out. It's going to be Special Attack increase from Porygon. Okay, that's fine. I also could just Sleep Powder here. But he could switch into Tapu Koko. Because the troublesome thing is, if I just protect and Hidden Power Ice, he could double up into Lilligant. With like an Ice Beam and something. But he could switch into Tapu Koko as well. If I call this right, I'm in a really good position, but if I get it wrong, I'm in a really bad position, so this is very tricky. I suppose I could just Hidden Power Heat Wave as well. Do I want to risk Sleep Powdering? I'm actually going to do it, yeah, because that means he can't Earthquake. So I'm just going to Sleep Powder and Heat Wave turn 1. No switch. Sleep Powder does connect. Is it Lumberry? Let's see. Hopefully not. That would be very good. No Lumberry. Okay, so you get lucky, obviously, connecting with Sleep Powder, but hey, we take those. It's actually Discharge coming out from Porygon, so we see the Disc-Quake combination. Hopefully no full Paralysis on Lilligant, because that would be very bad. I don't know why I jinxed myself. Dude! Okay, at least I get the Heat Wave off. That's so bad, though. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, as long as he stays asleep, I guess. Oh, actually, no. Now I can't even HP Ice. Oh my gosh. Actually, sorry. Paralysis only brings you down to half your speed now, so Lilligant still should outspeed Porygon. Forgot about that. So I can just safely hit him power here. And I will go for another Heat Wave. Oh, that's such an unfortunate double full power, though. Or double paralysis. I was not expecting discharge from Porygon, honestly, because normally you see a moveset like Recover, Trick Room, Ice Beam, / Thunderbolt, and Tri Attack. So I'm guessing my opponent has discharge over Ice Beam or Thunderbolt. Garchomp wakes up, gets the Outrage off. It's using Outrage too, like really? Torkoal survives at least, but not a lucky game so far. I do pick up the knockout onto Garchomp at least, but this late game is going to be really tricky. He's going to Ice Beam, so I can do a lot of damage here onto the Torkoal, but I'm not going to knock it out, and he probably has 2 Tapus in the back. Let's see. At least Heat Wave doesn't miss. Okay, that does some pretty good damage. So I'm going to bring in Tapu Bulu now. We'll see what comes in. Could be Gyarados, Garchomp. Oh, Garchomp already fainted. One of the Tapus, or Alolan Marowak. Ugh. Yeah, so if you didn't get that, like, double full if he doesn't get the paralysis on Alola again, then I just knocked it out with the Hidden Power Ice. Although, yeah, I guess since Garchomp went for an Outrage, it would just mean, like, I'd have more HP with Torkoal, which is important, but it's gonna be Tapu Bulu coming out, and Gyarados coming out from my opponent's end. Okay. So, this could be worse, I suppose. But I am going to get the Grassy Surge off, which is a big deal. Let's see. So I think I have to switch out into Mence here. And I'm going to go for the Horn Leech because I don't even know if that'll knock out. I'll go for the Wood Hammer to be safe. Yeah, I'm going to switch out into Mence. I am at -1 attack with Tapu Bulu, but this Intimidate will hopefully shut down Salamence. Or, sorry, Gyarados. Tapu Bulu, I think, should be faster than Porygon, too, so hopefully I just pick up the knockout before it can do anything. And if his last Pokemon is a Alolan Marowak, then I'm still definitely in this one, but if it's a Tapu, then it's going to be more troublesome. Because then it's like he's going to have the boost, and he's going to be faster. So maybe I should be running Timid Salamence instead, 4 Tapus. Let's see what comes out, though. And, oh, Porygon actually switches out. That's okay, depending on... It is Marowak, okay. So, we're still in this. And that's reassuring to see. And this is a huge Intimidate on both of the Pokemon. Could have went for an Ice Fang, though. See if he predicted that. But that does mean I can Draco safely into Marowak. And, okay, he is Dragon Dance, so that's not too much of a surprise. Also concerning, though, because he's at +1 speed now. I'm gonna get a Wood Hammer off. That's not gonna do... Oh, jeez, that did... Was that a crit? Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that did so much damage. And I'm gonna heal back from the lefties as well. Maybe Tapu Bulu can win this game. Good move by my opponent not to go for a waterfall or anything. Marowak's gonna heal back. Just don't know whether he has Ice Beam or not. Sorry, Ice Fang. If he doesn't have Ice Fang, then I'm like in a really good position for this game. But I think here I could Stone Edge Marowak, but I think he might try to Ice Fang Mence and just try to pick up the double knockout. Could Wood Hammer pick up the knockout on Marowak? We got a crit last time around. But crit also goes through the boost, so I think I might have to risk Stone Edging here. So I'm going to Stone Edge and actually switch back out into Torkoal. Because if he does have the Ice Fang, then I can get another Intimidate on later. And the speed doesn't really matter at this point because he's going to be faster anyway. Once he's at +1. So let's see. Marowak does protect though, okay. Safe play by my opponent. What does Gyarados do? He does have Ice Fang, okay. So it's not going to do too much. Stone Edge going to go into Protect. But I should have capitalized. I could have just targeted on Salamence there. The thing for my opponent now, though, is I can just still Stone Edge into Marowak. Yeah, I can still Stone Edge into Marowak, and he can only knock out one of my 2 Pokemon. So, I'm going to go for the safe Stone Edge here, and I'm going to go for a Heat Wave. Because Tapu Bulu should be faster than Marowak, so hopefully I just pick up the knockout onto Marowak. You could switch into Porygon too as well. But then Gyarados can either Ice Fang Tapu Bulu or target down Torkoal. So, you know, he gets the target on one of the 2. Given that moveset, though, he's probably Waterfall, Ice Fang, Protect, Dragon Dance. I really wish I did predict the Protect last turn, but it was just so obvious. And if I were my opponent, I would have considered just going for a double knockout. But yeah, if I Stone Edge Gyarados or Wood Hammered or Horn Leech, like, would have taken a lot of damage. I also could switch out Tapu Bulu right now because it is at -1. He's gonna Ice Fang. Let's see how much that does. Okay, not even 50%. Even with the crit. Stone Edge does connect. Okay, this is really good. Nice. Crit there on Marowak as well. But yeah, no, that Ice Fang does so little against Tapu Bulu, and I'm gonna heal back so much. And I missed a Heat Wave. Oh, come on. Please make this game a little bit easier on me. Oh, this is so frustrating. But for how bad it looked in the beginning, like, it's not over by any means. Okay. So Porygon's coming back in. I think my play here, because Porygon never has Protect pretty much. Special attack increase, that's fine. So my play here is to Wood Hammer into Porygon and switch Torkoal out into Salamence to further decrease Gyarados' attack. This is a really good game though. Like, I mean, it highlights how it's like even if you get unlucky, if you play well, you know, we haven't won by any means yet, but it's possible. It's more doable than I thought it was like a couple turns ago. And I haven't been playing perfectly. So I'm gonna switch Torkoal out into Salamence. And that's going to get another Intimidate on the Gyarados, so I believe it's at -2 and then did that at Dragon Dance, but it's at -1. That doesn't do very much against Tapu at all. So let's see what he does. Yep, he's just going to Ice Fang. Let's see. Yep. Oh no, I thought he targeted the Torkoal slot. Hopefully no freeze. Okay. And we get the Wood Hammer off. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. Oh, and we pick up the knockout. Okay. Perfect. So this is quite good now. Because what I can do... I think Grassy Terrain's also ending soon, so what I could do is switch Tapu Bulu out into Torkoal. I believe it actually tells you how many turns of the terrain you have left. And that's really cool, the feature to see. Yeah, actually I haven't fully utilized, like, Grassy Terrain yet last turn. So, this is what I'm going to do. I want the healing continuously, and he's at -1. I don't know, like, Ice Fang might just not even knock out Salamence, and if that's the case, then I just outright win. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch out so I don't get intimidated anymore, and then I'll have the healing option once again, and I'll go for the Draco into Gyarados. Because I am Choice Specs. So I think Draco could just knock him out. He's going to be faster, obviously, because he's Dragon Danced, but... No, the sun being up also decreases Waterfall's damage output, which could be a big deal, because it means Torkoal could survive an attack. He's got an Ice Fang Salamence here right now, though. Yep, he does. Doesn't pick up the knockout. Hopefully we get this Draco off. Draco comes out, and it targets. Oh, perfect. So let's see how much this does. Nice. Whew. That was an intense one, guys. That was definitely intense. Given how poor, like, the first turn went, I was like, oh, this could be really bad. But we fortunately were able to pull it off there against our opponent. Really good game, though. I think if my opponent brought a Tapu or two, like, it could have been a lot harder, but... part of the team preview game is assessing that your opponent isn't going to bring it, and it's kind of difficult to bring Tapus when I've got the Lilligant Torkoal and the Rangaroo Torkoal combination, because it's like, you either get outsped under the sun with Lilligant, or you kind of get wrecked outside in Trick Room, because then you can just kind of erupt and instruct away. So he brought a lot of anti-Torkoal Pokemon like Gyarados, Garchomp, and Marowak, but we were still able to come through, and you know, Torkoal didn't do too much damage, but it was able to attack through the full paralysis, which was a very big deal, and we are going to close this episode 1-1. So that first game, definitely a lot to learn from. One, I need to anticipate Z-moves better from Tapus, and maybe I should consider Citrus Berry instead of Mental Orb on Rangaroo, but for now I'm sticking with Mental Orb. And I think, yeah, if I got that Trick Room up, then the game would have played out very, very differently, and if I got the Draco Meteor KO, could have played out differently as well, but very, very good playing from both of my opponents, and we're able to split it 1-1. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't mind losing in VGC 17, especially this early on, because there's so much to learn, and I think the best way to learn is honestly analyzing your losses. So, really fun episode for you guys. That second game was super, super intense, and I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, leave a like if you did, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Alright, peace.